Coming to you live from deep within a radioactive and muddy and slightly sleety radioactive. I said radioactive. Radioactive wasteland. We are the survivors of the alt-right Keck-apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the froggy lobster vibrating hordes with these Gen Z women think sex positivity is overrated. Help me out with a number here, Brian.
Fundzerker number 167.
Okay, number 167. And
you butchered that intro, Allison. I have never heard anything
so
that poorly delivered since Brian Stelter was on the air.
Okay, I will take that reference, even though I do not understand it. And I just want to remind everybody, that's not actually, I don't know who Brian Stelter is.
Oh, you're lucky.
Okay. But I'm worse than him, so maybe not lucky.
He was CNN's media analyst.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you lost me at CNN, so there you go. Are we allowed to see that on YouTube? Okay. All right, so I just want to remind everyone that we are doing our fundraiser, and it is sort of going a little slow, so please take a moment to go to feedthebadger.com/support and put a few shekels in the hat. $5, very appreciated. And I know it's often just a matter of taking the time, because I know you don't want to tear yourselves away from our scintillating conversation.
It's always scintillating. I'm amazed you pronounced that properly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm actually amazed too. Sometimes my ability to speak English is more like a probability wave, perhaps.
Yeah.
This is probably how you pronounce this word.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it right.
It was perfect.
Sometimes. Okay, that's good. Yeah. All right. Now I'll probably screw it up. All right. So once again, that is feedthebadger.com/support. Take a moment, go there. I will spare you the arm twisting until we get to the top of the hour, but I will do the arm twisting because we do need to be able to fund our operation for the month. Otherwise, the operation is not funded and stops. So once again, feedthebadger.com/support. Okay, shall we just get into it?
Yeah. Do you want me to do the readings?
I can do it.
All right.
If I know I'm not that great and I will mispronounce stuff.
I can do it.
You can do it? All right.
All right. So the article is called Women, these Gen Z women think sex positivity is overrated. Quote in the subtitle, I get that it was necessary and a response to repression, but it feels somewhat passé now. All right, so now we're in the main body of the article. Katie, a 23-year-old working at a homeless shelter in Virginia, was a virgin until her first year of college. Feeling insecure and trying to be this cool girl, in quotes, she decided to create a Tinder account and embrace hookup culture. An experience, she said, was sometimes enjoyable, but often wasn't. Quote, there's people I've hooked up with where they just immediately choked me, and I was like, this was not discussed. I don't know you, end quote, she said. Quote, I've had some kooky experiences with men where I was open to hooking up at first, then realized I'm in a place that I don't know. I don't know how old you are. I don't know your name. I'm blackout drunk, and that's obviously not fun, end quote.
Okay, this is like a 0 to 60 situation. Like she didn't have sex until she went to college?
Yeah, and then she went on Tinder. Like, what the fuck was she thinking? You go on Tinder and you hook up as your first foray into like being sexually active. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, why didn't you just date for a bit?
What gave her the idea that was the appropriate starting point? Like, I'm just gonna go on Tinder. Like, that's just a good thing. Is it because everybody else was doing it?
Yeah. Like she was like trying to be this cool girl, in quotes, right?
That's not cool. That's just
she was trying to fit in. She was trying to fit in, and all her friends were hooking up, and it's like, oh, if I'm not hooking up, like I'm really missing out. And it's like, yeah, you're missing out, like feeling used, and the guy leaves before you can hold your hair while you puke, right? Like,
why would you do this?
Like
it's just bizarre. It's like I'm a virgin. I'm gonna just go to a meat market, and I'm gonna complain about being treated like meat.
Yeah,
in a meat market. And I'm guessing that she wasn't looking like it sounds like she was specifically looking for hookups.
Yeah.
Well, you're sort of rolling the dice when you specifically look for hookups on the people that you end up with. Because you don't know them aside from you probably, I'm guessing, just looked at superficial factors and swiped right. And
even when I was online dating, right? Which I didn't do until after I'd separated from my husband, and I'd been separated for about a year. And then I started with online dating because the town I was in, very remote, lots of married couples, and not so many single men who anybody would really want to date. Well, I still spent probably weeks getting to know each guy before getting together with them in person. And then I'd always give, okay, here's where we're going to be, and we might actually hook up, right? And but here's where I'm going to be. And here's what his name is, and I'll check in with you, and I'd give all that information to my friend, so she'd know where to send the cops if I ended up in a freaking duffel bag.
Mm.
Right? Okay. It's just like what you do, right? Because it's like, and it's not like I'm scared of men. It's just like there are a few men out there who do stuff like that, and I don't want to be the person who ends up with one of those. And as far as the choking thing, right? They just immediately choked her. And it's like, well, that's because that's what girls who are like hookup enthusiasts, that's what they tend to like.
Yeah, these guys are enacting the sex that the women who are interested in them like.
Yeah.
And because you didn't ease your way into hookup culture or just forego it entirely, you got caught up with the women who
I went to a bondage dungeon, and this guy wanted to hit me with a cat of nine tails, and I was just like, what?
It's like this is pretty typical hookup culture. The women in it seem to want to be treated this way. And,
I won't even say it's demeaning or anything, right? Like, because I enjoy that a little bit sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. A little spanky, a little choky, nothing like too serious, none of this like asphyxiation, passing out crap. I don't like that, but put your hand around my neck, show me that you're, on top of me in more ways than one. That's fine. I like that, as long as I trust the guy, not to take it too far. In order to feel that way, you have to get to know him. And
what was her experience? Did she say, "Okay, could you stop now"? And what did they do? Like this, every time I hear, and then they choked me.
She said, and I was like, "This was not discussed. I don't know you." Right? Okay. But she doesn't say whether she said that to him. She like, as far as we know, she was just thinking this.
Very hard, though. And here's the critical detail in these that they don't seem to ever reveal, which is really infuriating. When she was like, I'm not into this, did the guy stop?
Yeah, if she actually told him, she wasn't into it.
If you say, I'm not enjoying this, and if you're with the guy who actually knows you, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but if I only have my own experience to talk about, which is really minimal, but if you're not into it, often they'll pick up, or at least in my experience, they'll pick it up even before you say anything.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they know
no.
you.
And then on top of that, if you like, because my husband, he's sort of tried that, with other women, in terms of like not putting a lot of pressure on, but just putting the hand around the throat, just resting it there. And when the woman says, I'm not comfortable with that, please don't, he's just immediate, oh, sorry, like, let's continue as we were.
Yeah.
It's easily fixed. Most guys are fine with not doing that. In fact, there are a lot of guys that actually feel pressured to do it. Bill Burr had a great bit on that where he's like, they're asking you to choke them, and I'm like, what? No fucking way, right? He's like, I'm not doing that.
Louis C.K. did a similar bit like that.
Yeah, like you're gonna call the cops on me. You're gonna have bruises around your neck. I'm going to jail.
No,
I'm not doing it.
But yeah, I wish they would interview men, because there's at least one. It's supposed to be a meme, but it's sort of a funny little meme. I'll put it through in the chat. Maybe Brian can pull it up. Where this guy actually talks about the pressure to do this, and why he wants to get a sex doll. And the funny thing is that he wants to be able to do something intimate and
kind of like, missionary-like and cuddly.
Yeah, cuddly, and not have to spank, pull hair, choke. Just be able to just cuddle up with him, whisper sweet, and not immediately have the woman's vagina dry up because he's being beta, and just being sweet. And it would be great if somebody would do a study on how many men actually want to engage in the choking and the hair pulling and the spanking, or think that this is the only way that they're going to be considered viable sexual partners. And I've also heard, like, from some guys that they know that the only way to get physical intimacy, that is cuddling and affection, is being sexual. And in some cases, they engage in sexuality not because they're really wanting to, but because they just want to be touched.
Yeah.
Which is sort of sad. So, I mean, there's a whole other realm of this that's really interesting. And I know
can we just admit that, like, the sexual revolution fucked everyone? And not in a good way?
I think Tinder fucked everyone. The sexual revolution was maybe the beginning of it.
Yeah.
The Tinder was just like, there's people are having too much fun with their lives. Well, let's end that. Sex algorithm based, because that really works with YouTube content and tweets. Okay.
Got a super chat I'd like to read.
Sure.
Iggy Thunders gives us $5 and says every shekel helps on the live streaming channel. So appreciate all of that, and I want to double check to make sure I didn't miss any super chows. Because that.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention, guys. You can send us a super chow, and we get the full benefit of the amount at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And YouTube doesn't take its 30 to 50%, and you don't have to deal with YouTube's very, very idiosyncratic censorship system.
Arbitrary censorship system.
Yeah. Oh, and also, we're getting close to the hour. Nobody has gone to feedthebadger.com/support and helped us out. So please do take a moment to do that. It really helps me not face the existential terror of Honey Badger Radio disappearing. And there are some reasons why I really think that it's important for Honey Badger Radio to continue. What we talk about and the approach we take, I think, is the most honest. And I realized that when we were reviewing the Dr. Carol Hoover statements that were made on, that podcast.
Chris Williamson.
Chris Williamson.
It was Carol Hooven, I think.
Yeah. Hooven. And despite the fact that she gives compassion to men, there's a caveat to it. And that caveat is that she's saying, I understand why you're so rapey because you have such a high sex drive. And it's like, wait, no, men, like rape is not gendered, first of all, or you can't make that conclusion. If it is gendered, it's most likely gendered because what do we tell young men boys who are abused? And these are boys who probably have, in many cases, some of them have cognitive deficits. Oh, your rape was a gift that woman gave you. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a great thing to tell a young man, a boy with impulse control problems, isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, like our entire structure around this is absolutely ridiculous. And we're not being honest about our relationships, men and women. We're not being honest about what men actually are. We're not being honest about what women actually are. And if we aren't honest, we aren't going to fix the problems that we have. And these problems are multiplying. I'm pretty sure people recognize that now. We are on a damn timer. And if we do not fix the working relationship between men and women, the foundation of our society, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, and we can lose a lot. And what was the guy's name again? His podcast? Sorry, Chris
Williamson.
Brian?
Chris Williamson.
Chris Williamson.
The podcast is called Modern Wisdom.
Modern Wisdom. Chris Williamson, Dr. Carol Hooven. Okay? That is not a truthful statement about men. It's not. And I don't know if it's because she doesn't know about the statistics, she hasn't looked into it, but it's not a truthful statement about men. And I know that guys were listening to that and they just want a place to, they just want women to care about them. They just want women to express compassion. So they're looking at this woman and they're saying, finally, a woman is just being nice, trying to understand our point of view. But what she's saying is wrong. Yeah. And ultimately, it is manipulative. And like I said, I don't know if she is aware of that. Maybe she's just completely unaware. She's completely going on the traditional idea of men as being rapey, and she's completely unaware of the statistics. But that doesn't matter. We're not going to construct a solution from lies about our nature. And when we tell the truth is something nobody wants and nobody wants to buy. It's why we don't get the big numbers. It's why we don't get the huge support. People don't buy the truth until there's nothing else left to buy.
There you go.
But the truth is, right here, we are telling the truth about men. We are telling the truth about women. I'm trying to do it in a compassionate and respectful way. I'm trying to say, women are this way, but, we don't have to be, women have these impulses, men have these impulses. Maybe just understand each other, understand our insecurities, understand our vulnerabilities, extend a little bit of compassion to each other, but understand them truthfully, not in ways in which you're trying to retain, women are trying to retain this idea that men are somehow rapey because they want to keep a paborum, like moral self-righteousness over men because they're comfortable with it, but that is not true. And only the truth will set us free. And this is where it is. And it would be, in my opinion, a real tragedy if we had to stop talking about it. And I know these podcasts, we get burnout, we get tired. Maybe we're saying the same thing over and over again. I try not to do that. I try to inject new stuff into each one. But it is important to tell the truth as we understand it. It's important to tell the truths that nobody seems to be willing to tell.
There you go.
About men and women. Okay, so if you would like to support that, and we really do need your support. Personally, I'm having a goddamn panic attack about this freaking fundraiser. Please go to feedthebadger.com/support. Just take a few minutes. If you only can give $5, I don't even want to say only. If $5, don't think of that as being too little. Think of that as being absolutely what we need. And very much appreciated. And I will as soon as we get somebody, please, for the love of God, as soon as we get somebody, we will do our thank yous. All right. I will end that shill. Karen, you seem to want to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say we ended the first paragraph before moving on to the M. Night Shyamalan twist ending of Katie's story, which is during one of these sexual encounters, Katie was raped. Well, that was super unexpected.
That took a dark turn.
Well, it did take a dark turn, but it wasn't a twist ending. It wasn't like some kind of shocker. Okay, moving on in the article. Sharing her stories with women friends, Katie realized she wasn't alone. The surnames of people interviewed for this story have been withheld to protect their privacy. Quote, I've had friends who were choked until they passed out, friends who were filmed without their knowledge, end quote, she continued. Quote, it's fucked up and scary, and it makes you definitely wary of meeting people. Uh-huh. But none of this happened until you went on Tinder.
Yeah. Like, they don't pause for a second and say to themselves, oh, wait, Tinder's probably, like, the whole concept of Tinder is going to express or attract a specific type of man, right?
Yeah.
And then if you just swipe right based on his looks, you're not actually selecting for, and you're not, obviously, if you're on Tinder, you want to be fucked.
Yeah, and there was actually a guy, I think he was a guy in Australia or something, but he actually did an experiment. He took a male model's picture and put it as his profile and started saying the nastiest shit just randomly as an opener to women who swiped right on his profile, right? His profile was basically empty. Right? Or something, it was just like, yeah, looking to get fucked, right? And and he was getting swipe rights like nobody's business. And then he would open the conversation with these women who swiped on him with like just the most
vile,
I wouldn't say vile, but hyper-sexualized, like zero foreplay, like let's not get to know each other, let's just start talking about how I'm going to eat your ass like a freaking cabbage salad, okay? Yeah, stuff like that. And these women were like, yeah, no, let's hook up, right? It is about looks, and they don't care about character,
and
right?
I incidentally, where is the study on men and their experiences of Tinder? Because I guarantee, they're getting raped too.
This was a guy. The guy who did this, he was on Tinder, and he'd get like one swipe right every 2 weeks or something like that from some girl who was like, kind of plain and shy, and
Oh. Well, yeah. Okay, but here's the thing. Is that, and he wouldn't go out with her because she was plain and shy?
No, he was just like, why am I, I've got my basically my profession listed, right? I've got a good job. I've got all of this stuff going for me. It's listed on my profile, right? And I'm not getting any hits on Tinder, right? And then he made a profile with a male model's photo, and acted like a complete bore, and got tons and tons and tons of women who are willing to shag him.
Well, because women are visual. This is the great lie. And when they want to have sex,
and nothing else,
they're as crass as men. And I don't see why this is such a damn surprise to people. And the funny thing is that what the hell did this girl gain from all of this? as much as we can say, oh, this is, like what did she expect? Why did she think she had to do this? Like, if you're somebody who's a shy or awkward girl, I remember, or not remember, I mean, because it was like yesterday, we went into the city. I'm in like Walmart, and so this girl who was like like maybe 14, she was starting to develop. She was tall and very thin, and she obviously wasn't hugely taking care of herself because her hair was a little bit, limp. Like I have anything to say, because
yeah. I was just gonna say that.
I'm not saying that as a prerogative. It's just an observation. And I actually try with my hair, Karen. It's just like I don't freaking frizzy.
It's well, that's why I buzz mine off. So
yeah. And I totally sympathize with that. But I'm looking at this girl, and she's this tall, thin, awkward girl going through puberty. She's clinging to a gigantic box full of Lego. And I'm like, okay, this is the type of girl that I wish that I could talk to, because what's going to happen to her is she's either going to get sucked into social justice and think that she's a boy, or she's going to end up having a crappy sexual experience with one of these god-awful bottom feeders on Tinder.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we need to get to those girls and bring them to the slightly awkward Lego loving boys who will actually treat them well.
Or maybe she'll turn out like my daughter, who is just, she still likes her Lego, she still likes her Nintendo Switch, she still likes her anime, she still likes her manga, she still likes all of that stuff. She's got a boyfriend. I don't know what they do, but it's probably not much. And, but she's certainly never felt any kind of, because she is so nerdy, right? She's never felt any pressure to do any of those things. Right.
Yeah. And I hope that happens. But if this was this girl, maybe I should also hope she doesn't fall in with the sorority girls, or who are like, oh my God, you're a virgin. Like, what's wrong with that? You know, what's wrong with just being that way? And
you don't have to say you're saving yourself for your husband, or you're saving yourself because God or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can just say, well, I just never felt like doing it with anyone I've met yet. So,
Yeah. And that should be totally respected. Like, and it just seems like girls like this are going through like a obstacle course of people who want to use them for their own agenda. So you got the sorority chicks who are like, I actually really reject, or really, I maybe at some level I am not as happy with what has occurred as a result of being part of hookup culture. And this, before Tinder, this was a problem too in universities and colleges. There is sort of a hookup culture on campus, and the people in it engage in really objectionable behavior. And it's not just the men, it's the women. And in fact, the women might be doing it a bit more. So they
You have 60% of college girls pre-gaming before going to a party because they need to be drunk in order to
enjoy themselves.
In order to reduce their inhibitions enough to even have sex, right? And if it's like, if you have to self-intoxicate in order to reduce your own inhibitions, so that you can basically wine and dine yourself into bed with someone, maybe you don't need to be going to bed with that person. It's
like what is but here's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of not just the pre-gaming, but women who are engaging in this hookup culture who are actually flat out raping men. And in some cases this is really something that is damaging to the guys if they that's their initiation into hookup culture, is some woman getting them blackout drunk and then having their way with them. And it happens. And I remember one story about this guy who found out this happened to one of his roommates, and the roommate was a virgin before it happened. And he was so shaken by it. He failed his classes, was kicked out of college, and apparently the last time he heard it, he was still drinking and having obvious mental health issues as a result of it. So it happens to men too, and it can be I don't want to say can be, it does have a significant impact statistically. Like, looking at the statistics, even though men will say that these kinds of encounters don't
bother them,
they have a higher rate of
negative sequelae.
That includes drug abuse. That includes not being able to focus on their studies
out of
or work,
school, not being able to form relationships.
Yeah. So this hits men really hard. So if Katie was raped, there's likely men who have also been raped as a consequence of this. And it would be great to actually hear that side, but of course we don't.
Yeah, no, we don't. And and I just find that the entire culture is, like, maybe if you're in your 30s, right, and you've kind of your personality's been formed, and you've got some adult judgment going on there, and everything.
You've had a few actual relationships that
were sexual, and you know what you like in bed and all of that stuff, and you decide that, okay, now I wanna be adventurous sexually, right? If you decide something like that, I'm like, okay, well, fill your boots, right? Because you're probably going to be smart about it. You aren't going to have to get yourself blackout drunk in order to go through with it.
Know what you like,
with a random hookup. You know what you like. You have the courage,
to say, I don't like that.
Yeah, you've got enough confidence to basically put your foot down and all of that. So I mean, like, but these are kids out of high school. And
our society has abandoned, like, just mentoring young people through, sex. And I don't mean like mentoring as in having sex with them, but mentoring them in terms of, the pressures, the expectations, what's appropriate, making good decisions. It's like we just throw it all up in the wind, and now we're talking about children being able to consent, and it's just it's no,
no.
And this is like, I actually do feel for Katie, because it sounds like she got caught into like a real situation where she was just being socially pressured by maybe a bunch of women who weren't as happy with their choices as they could have been. Because, people who are happy with their choices are like, yeah, I made a great choice. They don't pressure people into doing it.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Because they don't have to. They're enjoying their life. They might say something like, this worked for me, but it's not like, like the constant eroding.
You have to do it too.
Yeah, it's not this constant eroding and picking at and abusing a person for choosing different.
Yeah.
Once people do that, you really should just minimize your experience with them, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like I would hope that people would support others in their choices. Not always, sometimes, if they're abusing drugs and stuff, you can't, right? But not try to force your own choices onto other people and guys because you're not comfortable with them,
Yeah.
But anyway, it sounds like Katie was forced, or at least there was, and that would
pressured.
That would be
felt pressured.
Yeah, felt pressured. That would be a good thing to point out, the peer pressure that women put on each other.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what's going to come out of this art.
I don't know. Maybe it will.
Maybe it will. All right.
Okay, let's continue.
Well, first, excuse me. I have some super chats and super chows. So,
sorry, Karen.
Gotta do that. Okay.
I have some thank yous as well.
M Nemesis gives us $10, and says, I don't know what she expected as a result. She talks online with strangers, and of course, it's men in society at fault, not her own lack of security. All right, well, thank you for that super chat. Super chat.
I mean, yes, one of the problems with this is, of course, none of this stuff will get addressed. None of the fact that probably this is a result of peer pressure. And the women that are peer pressuring her probably have some kind of not resentment, regret over their choices. And they also might actually be a little rapey themselves. Mm-hmm. That happens too. Because
it's the crab bucket phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, like they when one crab is about to climb out of the bucket, all the other ones pull it back in because you're not escaping.
So and they're not going to, like, the article, at least so far, hasn't pointed out that what instigated all of this for this young woman was peer pressure from other women.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of does. It hints at it.
It hints at it. It says it, but will it explore it? Anyway,
no, probably not.
Let's do our thing.
Super Chows. I got the Great Indoors, who gives us $50. Thank you, Great Indoors. Ooh. And says, did I miss some memo regarding Rumble or something? Did YouTube finally become completely toxic? You might be on the wrong instance. So when I started the stream, did it do its usual? Yeah, but I didn't realize it right away. So you might be in the wrong instance if you're not seeing anything. So here's what I would say. It doesn't matter which one you go to, but either go to Badger Live Streams, because it's currently streaming there, or go to just like the main Honey Badger Radio YouTube channel. It is also streaming there. I think it tried to create a duplicate instance on HBR on that channel. So, and you could also check us out on Rumble. But it looks like most people are actually on the Badger live streams. So yeah, just go to Badger live streams, and you should see it. Okay, so thank you for the super chow, and then we got another super chow from Halloween fundraiser tip that gave us $100 and says, "Happy Halloween, Badgers! Here's a tip to help out with the bills." So awesome. Great, thank you for the $100. Okie dokie, Allison.
We can buy a lot of Snickers bars with that.
Okay, did you want to do a sound? I will do the thank yous now that we're... I'm a little bit worried about Rumble because I can't figure out how to cash out. And I go to or at least somebody went to their Reddit forum, and other people are having exactly the same problem, and there's no answer.
Yeah.
So I will do my thank yous. So I'm actually really leery of presenting Rumble as an option now because of this issue that they have, and they're not addressing it.
Fix it, yeah.
Until they fix it.
There's got to be a quick.
I'm sure they're gonna. They'll probably fix it, but they need to. Like
maybe they got a problem with their payment processor not liking free speech. So
yeah, maybe. Well, actually, I don't think that is. I think it's something in their interface, or some confusion. Okay. But it does have to be fixed, and I can't honestly send people to Rumble until they do that. Yeah. Luckily, we have Feed the Badger, and you can go there at feedthebadger.com/justthetip and give us a tip, or support feedthebadger.com/support. See how I reduced I got a better URL now. Now I'm not like it's not 5 minutes long.
Dash.
Yeah. All right. Although I wonder if people really enjoyed listening to me stumble over it.
The dash.
dash. I want to thank Meredith G. Gave us $100 to our fundraiser. Thank you, Meredith G.
Very much.
Are we doing
really
the sounds, Brian?
I'm doing them, but you guys aren't going to be able to hear them. So
okay, well, just tell us when you're done because you can't hear them.
It's done. I already played it.
All right, and Michael O gives us $100. Thank you, Michael O.
And Cartwright was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
All right, then I played that.
A Pin gives us $10. Thank you, A Pin. Very appreciated. Everything's appreciated.
Yes.
We hold these truths to be
Health
self-evident.
Potion Addict gives us
All men and women
250.
created
Thank you,
by-
Health Potion
Go,
Addict.
You know the thing.
All right.
Yeah, it's a little bit laggy. Howard S gives us $100. Thank you, Howard S.
Thank you, Howard S.
You
Thank
guys
you,
really
everybody. You
responded to-
guys are really getting in there now.
Yeah,
Wow.
they responded to my call out. I really appreciate it. Like, I when I think about you guys putting the effort, or it is effort because it's your time, right? Putting this in, I really appreciate it. I was thinking about it. It's like it is a huge deal that you make the effort every month to make sure that we can continue to do this, and it does make me feel a lot better about our chances as a society. I know that might sound a little bit arrogant.
No, hokey.
Hokey. Okay, hokey.
Sounds hokey. Sounds corny, Allison. Oh, there are people out there who care. It makes me feel all like I'm on the Hallmark Channel. Next thing you know, I'm going to be in an episode of Touched by an Angel.
Oh my God.
I totally aged myself with that analogy, with that reference. So probably like half our listeners aren't familiar with that show.
Yeah, but like I'll take it, because everywhere else it's like every single channel now seems to be a little wild-eyed with fear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yeah, no. I basically, when I put up a video, and I don't put up very many videos, and none of them are like full content videos anymore. They're just like ads for stuff like this, and like very brief things. And but anytime I put one up, I just no demonetization, no nothing. I just demonetize it myself because I don't want the strike.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they actually look at one of my videos, right, because it's monetized, and then they go and they investigate my channel, like all of a sudden I'm on their radar again.
Yeah.
And then my entire back catalog of work is in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just not monetizing shit now.
Well, there's almost like I've been doing a lot of shorts because I've found a little bit of a groove in which I can create something with content it's less than 60 seconds long. I call them like essay origami. And I actually do monetize them, but there's almost no point. Like I got one that went really viral, like the Christian Obenselli, the experience of domestic violence with Courtney and Clenny, and it got like, I think it's almost got like 1.8 million views, and I think I got like $10 because it's a short. Well, that was great.
It's
Go ahead.
Well, and also like if you're seeing ads on any videos that you watch on my channel, right? It's not because I may have monetized those videos from way back when, right? They may have been demonetized because I've gotten notice after notice after notice after notice that advertisers don't feel this particular video or that particular video is suitable for ads, so they're demonetizing the video. But they'll still play ads on it, and they just don't give me the money.
Yeah.
They keep it all for themselves.
Yeah. It's really dishonest. YouTube is TikTok is going to take over YouTube, but I don't know if that's really
nobody's really going to make any money on TikTok.
Nobody's going to make money on TikTok, and also TikTok is, you basically go on there and turn your brain off.
Well, and you basically also go on there and hand all your information over to the Chinese Communist Party. Oop! Did I say that out loud?
Well, I think you're allowed to say their name, and I mean, technically, if a business gets big enough, they own it. So, probably we're gonna get something for that. God damn. But anyway, so I'm gonna continue with my thank yous. Machine 3125. I hope that's not your legal name. Gives us $100. Thank you, Machine 3125.
Grab him by the pussy.
Go ahead.
All right, and I just need to. Okay, I'm getting some serious lag on the website. I need serious lag music.
I don't have
Something
any
really dramatic.
music handy. I guess I could play Justin Trudeau talking.
Oh God,
We still have an awful lot of work to do.
Moistly.
Yeah.
Every time I say I'm a feminist.
Okay, 12 zinc gives us $50. Thank you, 12 zinc.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's a super chow. And JW, I'm not going to say anything more because I'm pretty sure that is a legal name, gives us $100. Thank you, JW.
Ooh, wow.
Thank you.
Come on, man.
Jesus Christ, I should get back in this fucking game.
New Ob gives us $200. Thank you, New Ob.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think that is actually the first genuine shill I've done in a while, Karen.
Oh my God.
Judge 4-1. I'm only going to say Judge 4-1 because I have no idea if this is a real name. It gives us $10. Thank you, Judge 4-1.
And by the way,
I assume that if it's a word plus a bunch of numbers, it's a generic word plus a bunch of numbers, that's probably safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me go check the fundraiser and see where we're at. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been a rough couple of years. I think it's been a rough couple of years for a lot of people, and it's been a while. For a while I was thinking, Jesus, my God, I sort of, I don't want to say I predicted it, but I sort of said that we're going to enter some serious crap in 2020, and the misery machine is going to go into overdrive, and I think that's sort of what happened, but I was still surprised.
Well,
and you look at that and you're like, well, what can I do, right? It's just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have gotten $1,000 in the last hour, and we are now 59% funded. And
very nice.
So yeah, that's great. We have another, I think, 1,000 and 1,000. Oh gosh, sorry, my math is not really great. 1,935 to go. So again, very appreciated. I know that you're extending yourself to make sure that this keeps going, and honestly, I think it actually took responding to Dr. Carol Hooven to really make me realize how important the work we do here at Honey Badger Radio. And the reason why is because I know that we got some pushback about it, because I know that she was expressing compassion towards men. She was basically saying, you're rapey, but it's because you're oversexed, right? You have a higher sex drive. And it was a certain amount of compassion to men for their sex drive, for their natures. But at the same time and I know that, we're walking through a desert, and any kind of oasis feels like, you want to cling to it because it's exhausting. But this ain't a safe place to stop.
Yeah. No,
it isn't the truth.
Yeah, you might drink the water, but there's poisonous spiders there.
Yeah, and
you probably want to go quick.
I'm not saying that she necessarily is intending to be, she's intending to say something that actually isn't really very helpful in the end of the day, or she doesn't know about the truth. But we need to tell each other the truth, because that's the only thing that's going to make this situation better and allow us to continue to have a very, and I was thinking about this. Is the life that we live that bad? No. I mean, even if we have to scale back in terms of the pre-trash we buy, just being able to live in comfortable environments, cogitating on things that interest us, is an incredible advancement for people. I mean, think about what we had to do throughout most of human history.
Sounds like what I was doing for like an hour and 20 minutes in the yard before I came on the radio.
Yeah.
And my back is not loving me for that. So
yeah. I mean, we used to have to do incredibly back-breaking labor just to break even. And now we have these comfortable little pods, and we can just sit around thinking about things, which, obviously that has its detriment.
Yeah.
We end up getting into these bizarre thought spirals. But this is a society that we want to keep. Like I said, even if we have to scale back on travel or scale back on how much crap we buy, it's good to have internal, like central heating and internal plumbing and an internet. It's good to be able to have a full belly every day, and just be able to have time to think. And if we can just get over the hump of apparently needing to be miserable, you know what I mean? Like that matrix, the human mind rejected utopia because there seems to be a certain level of misery that's required for our mental health.
Yeah, difficulty. Maybe not misery, but difficulty, struggle.
Yeah, struggle. I mean, we can have different struggles, like how to get to Alpha Centauri.
Yeah, can we make a colony on Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's going to happen when Twitter becomes a free speech platform?
Yeah. Let that sink in.
I've already submitted an appeal asking for my account back.
That would be awesome. Jeez.
No, I'm actually kind of regretting it because I'm like, I have so much more free time now that I'm not on Twitter. But it would really suck to have to still say, when radio hosts and stuff ask me, where can people find you? And I'm like, and I always have to say, not on Twitter. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's get more of the article done. And you guys, once again, if you want to support the show, feedthebadger.com/support. Very much appreciated. Appreciate everybody, all of our generous supporters who make this show possible.
Okay, you're not a maraca. Go sit down. Jesus.
All right, so feedthebadger.com/support. She or he was just adding to,
Borat?
Ambiance. Yes, adding some doggy ambiance.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the article.
Okay.
At some point.
All right. Now Katie and her friends are cynical about some of the progressive messages they had received about sex when they were younger. Quote, "We all really embraced third wave feminism and sex positivity, and it impacted us so negatively," end quote, she explained. Quote, "Being told that you should be having sex with people you don't have any relationship with really put it in our minds that sex doesn't matter. I feel like we all just kind of got fucked over." Oh, you think? Sorry, that was me adding commentary. Sex positivity, defined by researchers as the belief that all consensual expressions of sexuality are valid, including kinky, queer, polyamorous, casual, and commercial sex, has become a household term. The concept has roots in the 1960s when activists began challenging cultural norms about sex, especially the idea that unmarried, non-procreative sex is dirty or shameful. Today, the sex-positive movement promotes bodily autonomy, consent, safer practices, and comprehensive education. The concept has been widely embraced across the English-speaking world, appearing in liberal media, academic studies, schools, nonprofit sectors, and political groups.
Okay.
But as the concept of sex positivity became more well known, it often appeared without important context. Thoroughly picked over by brands, magazines, and social media, it became shorthand for libertine sexual adventurousness, without all the fine print about consent, autonomy, safety, and health. Some Gen Zers, a generation raised in sex-saturated environments yet also increasingly sexless, according to a recent study, say the concept is outdated and even harmful.
Okay.
Quote,
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Keep going.
Quote, I think of sex positivity as a little corny and naive for our time, end quote, said Joe, a 23-year-old civil engineer in Colorado. Of course, she went into civvy. She's a woman. Quote, I get that it was necessary.
Just like a woman.
And a response to repression. Well, civvy's the easiest engineering field. And I found it super helpful when I was unlearning anti-sex religious attitudes I was raised around, especially as a bi teenager. But it feels somewhat passé now.
Okay, well, I'm still, still skating the edge of being somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, no, it's like
BuzzFeed, somewhat reasonable, waiting for the other foot to drop or the other shoe to drop.
They must have fired like a bunch of people at BuzzFeed.
Oh, I would be suspicious that somewhat reasonable quality is going to be maintained. But maybe you're right.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
These days, sex positivity is a mainstream idea. Quote, you just have to look around. On Netflix, there's a show about a dominatrix. Oh, my freaking... What? Why are you... Oh, my God. Sorry, there's a giant ad in my way.
Do you want me to continue reading?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Kill that ad.
I did. On Netflix, there's a show about a dominatrix, and it's like a silly comedy show, said Sakari Hughes, the communications director for the Center for Sex Positive Culture in Seattle. In some places, quote, in some places you have drag queen story times, and no one's burning down the library. There aren't people with pitchforks anymore, end quote.
No, there were never people with pitchforks. There were just people who were like, just stay in your lane.
Yeah, no, I was not in front of my 4-year-old, thanks. But uneasiness with sex positivity is bubbling to the surface, especially in some Gen Z quarters. Quote, I often see sex positivity compared pejoratively to choice feminism, empowerment, and eyeliner so sharp it kills a man, said Luna, a 23-year-old grad student in New England, who since age 13 has been researching her generation's attitude towards sex. Quote, it's seen as a potentially shallow, a repackaging of the patriarchy and not in the best interests of women, especially young women, because people associate it with casual heterosexual sex, dominance, submission play, and being sexually active online, especially through platforms like OnlyFans.
And quote, the patriarchy.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's not the patriarchy. No, this is feminism. This is feminism. This is third wave feminism. Second wave feminism started it, and now it's third wave feminism, and now you're like, no, it's the patriarchy.
Well, that's the life cycle, Karen.
Oh my God!
It starts as feminism.
Once we got what we asked for and decided we didn't like it, then we get to say the patriarchy forced it on us.
Oh God damn it! The thing is that all of this crap is mostly female driven. All right, like you think that Tinder is something that men would, or it probably is something men would think up because they knew that they could make money off of it.
Yeah.
But you think this is something the average man would be like? Yeah, I think that's the way I would like to arrange dating. No, in their 20s. Young men want to get married.
Yeah.
They want to take you, the person who started this, they want to take Katie, and they want to have a relationship with her. That's what they want. Instead, Tinder gives a lot of casual, aggressive sex to women.
Yep.
Because that's what they want.
Yep.
You know how you
what they're asking for.
Yeah, you know how you avoid this? This is where the unreal. Then you know how you avoid all of this patriarchy? Don't go on Tinder. Or if you do what female Nostradamus did or female Einstein did. Because there's this one tweet, we've covered it on the show. You remember that tweet, Brian? And we were trying to figure out what to refer to this woman as.
I don't remember what the tweet said. I'm sorry. What was it? What was the basic
Okay,
thrust?
so it was from a woman called Jack on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And she was responding to a guy who was talking about how horrible Tinder apparently is for women. And how it's, I don't know, it's male evil. I don't understand how people don't realize that Tinder is entirely female driven. Like this is just because
like
the courtiers are male does not mean the queen is not driving the interest in the courtiers, you know, like
yeah, sure. I mean,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think that in all dating apps or sites, it's female driven. Like, I think they set the tone.
As Ged said, told me once, you know, the female controls the entire dance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a dating site, it's, you know, it doesn't matter if men built it. It doesn't matter what their intents were when they did so, because women are the ones that are going to drive it, and they're going to set the tone. They're going to say, these are the kinds of relationships I want. These are the kinds of men I want. And men are going to respond to that because that's what men do. So yeah, that was all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, and like if women, and here's the thing, and here's how I know this is the case. Jack on Twitter, who is apparently the wisest woman in the world. So I'll hand of applause for Jack. As a woman, I only had positive interactions from Tinder. Didn't make sense until I observed how differently friends use the app. While I was very selective for what I considered relationship potential, they liked only the hottest guys that I would never swipe right on.
Yep.
Yeah, so if a woman goes on Tinder and is like, you know what I would like? I would like to have a nice dinner and go to a park and talk to him and maybe, you know, play a game of a Scrabble or something. And that's what she goes on Tinder for. That's what she gets.
Yeah.
So Tinder is like a vending machine. Yeah. And if you choose dark triad, sex only, that's what you get. But if you choose Scrabble in the park, that's what you get. And they are saying that this vending machine, patriarchy made it. Yeah, insofar as men are the ones giving you what you're selecting.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I know. This is the wisest woman in the world, Karen. She goes to the vending machine, she selects what she wants, and she gets it.
Yeah, she ordered some healthy paleo beef jerky.
Yeah.
Instead of Monster Energy drink. So
yeah, and she got it, and she's not like blackout drunk on Monster Energy drink or whatever.
Yeah, no, she's like maybe walking around looking for a toothpick, but
you know, let's blame
other than that,
patriarchy
she's
for all
good.
this.
You know, her blood sugar's fine. She's not vibrating. You know. So
let's keep going. Huh?
All right, I got some. I got to read these super chats because sometimes they disappear and then I can't read them. So Duncan Alexander gives us 45 ZAR and says she didn't talk to him before the sex because it would have turned her off. Now that was from a while ago, so I don't know what they're referring to, but thank you for the super chat regardless. And then let me see. I got a super chat from Voltaire's Puppet, who gives us 50 pounds. Thank you, Voltaire's Puppet.
Whoa.
And says, keep on trucking, or keep in trucking. But I think he meant keep on trucking.
Well, you never know what those Brits idioms are.
Yeah, I know. Like... And then I did get a Rumble rant from NobaFan21, who gives us $1 and says, it's so frustrating that there's so many people, in this case women, who go on hookup apps and expect it to be a gentle romance. Well, I mean, I think it can be, but like you know, you have to put forward what you're looking for and be really clear.
Yeah, you know what's frustrating is that it's obviously that what they're choosing.
Yeah.
And then after they've chosen what they've chosen, anything negative, if anything negative happens, it must have been somebody else that did it to them.
Yeah.
So just stop that.
Yeah.
Stop it. Like that is a recipe to having the worst life you can humanly create for you. If you go on Tinder and you swipe right on men with 8-packs, you are going to have a shitty experience.
Yeah,
if what you want is a relationship, if what you want is to be slammed up against a wall and ridden hard, sure, go after the thoroughbreds. You know, otherwise, I honestly, like, in some ways, I don't understand this, because when I look at guys like that, it's almost like looking at another species. You know what I mean? It's like watching a thoroughbred running through a meadow. It's like, that's very beautiful.
I think a lot of women make the mistake of thinking that if the guy looks good, then she'll be
able to convince him to have a relationship with her.
Yeah, that she'll be able to change him to match her values. But if he's so it's like, it's harder. I guess these women think that it's harder to make a man hot to her, but like a decent guy, that like it's harder to do that than to take a guy who may not be decent and make him decent. And I don't want to assume that like attractive men are not decent. I think that's kind of unfair, but it is. But I'm thinking that the attractive men on Tinder, they're probably
the attractive decent men are probably all married.
Yeah, the attractive, because they're going to find, an attractive
high quality women.
Yeah, and fairly quickly. I mean, not even high quality in terms of equal attractiveness and a decent person. I mean, if that's what they're looking for, they're probably going to find it. So, and the other thing is, if a guy is on Tinder and he's very attractive, and he's looking for a partner, he's probably not going to be doing
flashing his abs all over the place.
Yeah, they've got to know that that's going to attract a certain type of woman.
Oh yeah, no, like essentially, like, men who are looking for a relationship know what kinds of photos to post, right? They post photos of themselves having fun with friends, right? Surrounded, usually, if they're smart, surrounded by attractive people, okay? They post photos of themselves doing wholesome things like sitting around a picnic table with their extended family at a family gathering, right? They post photos of themselves hiking, right? Or mountain biking, or doing something wholesome like that, right? That's what they post of themselves. And if they post any close-ups of themselves, it's of their face looking away from the camera, not smiling, because that actually pulls women. That actually induces women to click.
Makes them look mysterious.
Yeah, disinterested. Makes them look disinterested.
Yeah.
Yeah, aloof, right? And so effectively, the men who actually want a relationship are going to post things like that. The men who want a hookup are going to post their fucking abs, and that's it, right? Oh, maybe a photo of their dick.
Yeah,
right. And they don't understand, like, some of these guys, right? Like, because there's so many guys that are so misled by this hookup culture, right? They don't realize that if I like you, right, and I being most women, right, if I like you, I'm gonna like your dick just fine.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to show me a preview of it. It does nothing it doesn't offend me. It just doesn't, it does nothing for me. Right? It's like, no, like, bring it out, take it out when it's time to take it out.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you,
don't put it before the main course.
Yeah. Like, Jesus.
You guarantee.
But you do have some women out there who are like, I won't take a man who's like, I want to go to bed with a man who's less than 8 inches long. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy, bitch? Like, have you had taken X-rays of your insides lately? Jesus.
I just I'm looking forward, and of course, they don't give any real solution. It seems like they mostly blame patriarchy. Also, this article is so damn long.
Well, we're not going to finish it if it's very long. But they also, not only do they blame patriarchy, they blame patriarchy's misinterpretation of the concept of sex positivity, right? So they're like, or patriarchy's taking advantage of the concept, right, of sex positivity, right? It's like, ooh, sex positivity. Mwahaha, let me twirl my mustaches and figure out how I can take advantage of this newfangled thing.
Yeah, women ask for something, there's a downside, and men are to blame for that.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I don't even know what the hell these people are expecting.
It's stupid. Like, and it's like, oh, people misinterpreted the concept. Well, if your concept is so complicated and like drowning in so much context, right?
Yeah.
That it's not explanatory, discernible, just standing alone, right? Then it's not a concept.
Okay,
it's some kind of woo freaking bullshit, hiding under a big pile of words, bigger than a pile of fucking thistles in my backyard. Anyway.
All right, let's do. You want me to do a few paragraphs?
No, I'll keep reading.
Yeah, keep going then. Let's try to get as much as we can done.
No,
people do not like editors.
The concept emerged during a very different era. Quote, I would trace origins going back to the 60s and the free love movement, end quote, said Dawn Woodward, a board member and former executive director of Sex Positive World, a nonprofit that advances sex-positive ideas. Quote, I would include fights for queer rights, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivers, the 1969 Stonewall riots, making big changes for people being allowed to be how they are and live how they want to live, end quote. The feminist sex wars of the 1970s and 80s were another turning point, which involved a split between radical and liberal feminists on issues like pornography, sex work, support of trans women.
So, I just want to make one statement. Is it always the feminists who get that? Like that's it. These are the only people that discuss these issues. There's no other viewpoint. It's now just basically feminists versus feminists.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Keep going.
I was just gonna ask, like, was this like sexual revolution and this whole like sex positive thing, from the 60s, was it ever asking or talking about men's experience?
No.
So it was just about women and women's.
Well, at least not
and
heterosexual men. Yeah,
not
heterosexual men. Yeah.
No, in the 60s, the free love movement, it was apparently great for men. It was assumed that it would be great for men because all men would be getting sex. And, and so it was free love movement. All the men are getting laid. And no, that wasn't what was happening. A certain number of men with status, however derived, were getting all the sex. And a huge number of men were basically being left hanging out to dry.
Yeah, I would give you a good mnemonic for. Is it mnemonic for just understanding this?
Mnemonic.
If somebody does not like something, it's good for men. If they do like it, it's good for women.
Yeah,
this is true for every form of art. They need to make this into like an argumentative fallacy. I don't like X. Therefore, it's bad for women and good for men. And then everybody will be like, and whoever's against that is, but not X is bad for women and good for men. And they all have the same damn argument. This is bad for women and good for men. And it's
literally the religious objection, the sort of traditionalist objection to the free love movement was that men were going to be getting laid willy-nilly. Yeah, right? And they weren't going to have to pay any kind of price for sex.
Yeah, and you're right, Brian. Men were never consulted. So feminists made these decisions. They decided what they wanted, and that was done. And now that some women don't like it, it's men's fault, even though men had nothing to do with the decisions.
Yeah, and also they were operating under the presumption, because they put men into a stereotype box about their own relationship with their own sexuality. They basically just say, "Oh, you guys are going to be happy with this. You're going to love this. You're just going to love this, no matter what that man might feel about." The importance of chastity, or if he wants to, whatever, right? Like a man's opinion on his sex is just not even considered. We just assume that they always want it, and so therefore, why bother consulting them? They're gonna be okay with it. They're horn dogs. That's all they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, and the for some men. I guess at least in the short term, in terms of poontang, like they really cashed in, but it's like I don't know how good that was for them, because you see a lot of men who have had a lot of sexual partners, and they sometimes swing very hard back in the other direction when they realize how empty that is. Bruce V being one of them, right? So,
and then the problem, if you're a woman, can a guy like that ever be just one woman?
Yeah.
And so whoever he gets, if she's also interested in commitment, that's probably going to be in the back of her mind.
Yeah. So it's complicated everything, and and the idea of men and women staying together long term, right? One man, one woman staying together long term, like that just went out the window in the 1960s too, right? Mm-hmm. And it really went out the window in the 1980s.
Not quite as much as when Tinder came along.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I got a couple of super chows. Abigail gives us $50 and then $10. Can you do that? Can you do because it looks like it's 50 and then a comma and then it says 10. So
what she did is she gave 50 through super chow and $10 to the fundraiser.
Oh, and that pops up too. Okay, cool. Yes. Abigail then says, this is a bit long, so you don't have to read it all on stream. Haha. Today I heard a story about a man named Robert that was kicked out of his house by his wife. The wife was offered a house by her father if she got rid of him, and she did. He can't see his kids, and he now lives in his car. People like Robert are why I find your work so important, so thank you. Well, thank you, Abigail. Appreciate it. And these are things that we talk about very frequently.
And I have to say that it gets this is the stuff that I know it's really important to talk about. At some point, you're looking at these stories and it's just, I get it. You get exhausted by the pain.
Yeah.
And I know that, and that's why I really appreciate our supporters, because I know, and especially in particular the people who listen, because I know how hard it can be. These truths, there's reasons why people will pay more money to have others lie to them, because the truth is very, very painful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate everybody here who's to withstand handling not just listening to it, but also supporting it. so that it doesn't disappear into the swamp of lies.
Yeah.
All right.
I got another super chow from Anonymous for $5, and they say, I can't stand the feminist framework, especially when it's presented as a neutral view, then proceeds to act like it's nuanced and diverse even within itself. I think it's clear when shows like She-Hulk show the female unrestrained ego and acts like the only men worth respecting have the prerequisite of being feminist allies. We will never see a feminist show that shows boys being victims of girls without making toxic masculinity or the patriarchy as the core villain. Also, as a heads up, I heard Rumble might have problems with debit cards, so I tried sending you a Rumble rant with my credit card. One more thing, if finances take a turn for the worst, maybe do a side show not revealing yourselves that pander to leftists to shill from them.
I think one of the, because there's a market for conservative viewpoints, but the thing about what I was talking about with Dr. Carol Hooven is I was listening to her and I was like, and this is gonna maybe surprise some people. I'm like, why did you throw out one of the few things that feminists got right? Like, because she said she was a feminist. And what I mean by that is feminists explicitly say, at least some do, that it's insulting to say that men can't help themselves because of their sex drive. And I'm like, yes, they're right. It is profoundly insulting. And that's a traditionalist viewpoint, is to think that men can't help themselves because of their sex drive. The problem is that feminism doesn't take it to, it seems to want to keep the traditionalist viewpoint, but not keep it at the same time. So they appeal to patriarchal rape culture, but unfortunately that just resolves down to the choices of individual men at some point. So basically they're saying that men are rapey because men are rapey, and that's not really a movement towards a new understanding. It's still traditionalism, but with like extra steps. But they are right that men can help it, and they do. And having a higher sex drive does not make you a rapist at all. Okay, that's a false belief. So I'm like listening to what this woman is saying. And I'm like, why would you throw out one thing that feminism got right as a feminist and then just go back to the traditionalist misconception? So it's more than just, we need to pander to leftists to make money. At least in my case, you'd have to not pander, but you'd have to at least make arguments that make sense to traditionalists. But that's not true.
Well, I will say, because I do a lot of conservative talk radio spots and stuff, and when it comes to actual ideas that buck the traditional narrative, right? Like men are roughly equally victims of sexual assault, and women are roughly equally perpetrators of sexual assault, and the same goes for domestic violence, and the same goes for child abuse, and the same goes for and all of these other things. Like these issues are not gendered. We perceive them as if they are, but they're not according to the statistical data, right? And we have perceptions of men that are rooted in traditional views, right? Because there's never been any point in history where women were only hearing good things about men from society and from the culture, right? Like women were always hearing all kinds of nasty stuff about men on top of some of the good stuff, right? That, a man is supposed to be a good husband and a good father, and he's supposed to take care of you and all of that, protect you and protect your children and all of that stuff, right? But some men are dangerous, right? And, you can't necessarily trust every man you meet. Like, that was the traditional narrative. Now it's like, you can't trust any man you meet, and all men are total crap and good for nothing. And, if they succeed, they stole that success from a more deserving woman. And that's what men are facing these days under this narrative, right? So you will find more welcome from conservatives, even for ideas like yours, right, Allison, which are kind of a little bit esoteric and a little bit, like you do a good job of explaining them, but they are very high level. They're extremely abstract and high level.
They're systems level.
Yeah, but you will find an audience among conservatives that you will not find on the left. You just absolutely will not find. If you find somebody on the left,
I agree,
who understands what you're saying and agrees with you, that person will be excommunicated from the left.
Well, the problem is the left is like, I honestly think that they have become some of the most conservative thinkers I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, like I called that like years ago, right? This is just traditionalism on steroids. It's like all of the negatives about men and the positives about women that were extolled under the traditionalist narrative, right? It's just been boiled down to its purest elixir under feminism, right? They just took this from this and that from that, put it in a pot together and rendered it down until it's like a thick, goopy syrup.
Yeah, I think also conservatives might have a higher perception that something is going wrong, or even that something needs to change.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They're absolutely paranoid about what's going on.
They're upset about it. I don't think they're paranoid because
paranoid assumes that it's irrational. I mean, like they can see the writing on the wall.
They're aware. Yeah. So and they can see the writing on the wall. They're more tuned into society as a system, and I think also that they can understand when I say the working relationship between men and women is foundational to everything in our society.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no.
That doesn't mean that we like abuse
the entire premise of traditionalism.
Yes, it doesn't mean we necessarily abuse people who don't fit, you know, but still we have to recognize that is foundational. We have a set of instincts. Our society puts those instincts together like puzzle pieces, and that the way that it puts people to piece those pieces together functionally creates the engine of society, makes it work. You know, and if you don't attend to that, it all collapses. So I think conservatives are open to that. But when I talk to people who call themselves liberals, and, honestly, recently, because of certain things that have been happening with the media and like the Johnny Depp trial and even like Meghan Markle and other stuff, I think there are women on a more liberal end of the spectrum who are opening up their eyes to this, but then they get hit with this media blast of, oh, you're now white supremacist misogynists, which is interesting to watch. So I don't want to say that it's impossible for liberals to sort of wake up to this insanity.
Yeah, no, they just will not. The liberal, I guess, consensus will try and pull them back into the crab bucket, and if they won't go back in willingly, right? They're going to chop off a leg before they let you escape, right? And then you're going to go and huddle in a corner somewhere and regret what you did.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage, and I honestly don't think that's real liberalism, because it's
not. Of course, it's not. It's liberal, and liberal became a label for the political left in the United States, because back during the free speech era, the free speech
from
movement,
the 60s,
which was basically leftists on campuses who wanted to say what they wanted, and but that doesn't mean that leftists are for free speech. It's that leftists wanted to say what they wanted to say, and so they fought for that. And now they've turned it around. It was what's his name? The guy from the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education.
Fire.
What's his name?
I don't remember, but I know who you're talking about.
Regardless, I mean, if we're going to talk about,
but he said that back when I founded this organization, I was defending people who were being suppressed, for liberal ideas, and now it's all people being suppressed on campuses for expressing conservative ideas. That's who I'm defending now, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's my entire freaking client list. So, yeah, no, it's completely, and it's like anybody who understands anything about humans understands that power wants to preserve itself. So now that the quote liberals have the upper hand, and have the power, the authority to suppress and to suppress speech, suppress ideas, censor, all of that stuff, right? Now that they have the power to do that, they don't want to give that up, and they don't want to let anybody else talk. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not that they were believers in free speech. It's that they wanted to be able to talk.
Oh, we also have, I just realized we have super chats through the main channel too.
Do we? Oh. I don't see them.
Yes. There's a top chat there now. You know what? It might be because you are. Let me just check to make sure we got them all.
Wait. I did get one because I was gonna read it, but you guys were talking. From the last one I saw is from Fillerator, who gives us $50 Canadian and says, "Hi Badgers, happy to support Badgers. Couldn't seem to make your Feed the Badger page work, even though I have donated that way in the past." That was Fillerator.
Now that's odd.
Did you go to? Are you trying to like give us a super chow, or are you trying to give us support to like the fundraiser, tip? Or like which one are you trying to do? I guess then Allison, you can maybe look
Fillerator,
into it.
If you have access to the Discord, then just go to the customer support channel, and you can get free access if you want, and we can talk about it. And we'll figure it out. But thank you for the super chow, the super chat, or no, not super chat. Super chat. And I just wanted to say, like, I'm trying to get more towards being just focused on men's issues and just focused on the relationship between men and women, as opposed to talking about the politics. Personally, I understand that, there's a lot of pressure just because of what's happened in the world to really talk about the politics, but that's just I'm looking at all of this. I'm looking at the chaos.
I'm just talking to anybody who will listen. So
yeah, and Karen's just talking to anybody who's listened, and she's noticed that conservatives are more interested in what we have to say, which Karen has her own point of view, so I don't want to speak for her. But what I have to say is that we got to make a working relationship between men and women again, or we're going to lose. And conservatives are a little bit more open to that. Interestingly enough, when I talk to not liberals, like the liberals who just don't seem to want to be open to that, leftists. Ironically, they are expressions of those instincts.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're just like unconscious expressions of those instincts.
Yeah.
I recently talked to a feminist on Twitter, and he took issue with me saying, well, why would you call a society a patriarchy, and you also consider a patriarchy to be oppression of women? Don't you think that that's sort of mean to men to call evil after men?
Yeah.
And he got really upset with me, and he was like, you're infantilizing men by saying that they can't handle this. And
isn't him saying that men can handle it toxic masculinity?
Well, isn't him saying,
toxically masculine stoicism?
Yeah, so saying that men are victims of, or saying that it's unfair to say that, men are exclusively to blame with how society is, or that they're where the buck stops, because that's really what patriarchy theory points to. That is infantilizing men, but saying women, not being able to see how women might be part of the process of
deciding cultural and societal norms.
Yeah, that's not infantilizing women.
Like,
and I'm like, is this a position that you hold genuinely, or is it a power fantasy?
Yeah, no, and it's like, isn't it, if you actually are a male feminist and you say men should be able to handle that accusation. They should be able to just like tough it out, rub a little dirt in it, walk it off, right? Because like that's not toxic masculinity or anything. Like what?
What? Yeah, I know.
It's insane. It's retarded. Sorry for using that word that got me banned from Twitter.
I don't understand why that has become such a touch point. Like, it actually really bothers me that they're associating that word with people with like Down syndromes or special needs.
Oh no, it's like I even when I appealed my perma ban, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like the first time I appealed and was rejected, I was just like I uttered a word. It was derogatory, yes. It was not directing hatred at the group that word is associated with at all. Like asking somebody to stop being retarded, who is obviously not retarded, does not direct hatred towards the mentally impaired.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's
well,
like
it could mean a whole bunch of things. Like,
they came back with, we reserve the right to examine an account in its entirety to determine whether its primary purpose is to upset other users.
Man, I'm surprised that I didn't get hit with that because I seem to upset a lot of people. Like that guy, when I said, well, do you have a... Okay, so we got into an argument over whether or not men care about women. And I essentially came back with, like you're saying that I'm doing this because I care about how the word patriarchy and the condemnation around patriarchy affects men. Don't you think that women care about men? Oh my God. He had a absolute meltdown.
Yeah,
and he got really aggressive towards me for saying that. And I'm like, I obviously hit a nerve. Sorry for caring about men. Anyway, let's get a little bit. Can we get a little bit further?
Just a tiny bit, and then I have to go because I have to go grocery shopping and buy food for my husband.
Just a reminder, everyone, we haven't had any additional support for a bit. So if you are thinking of helping us out, make sure that this content, this contentious content continues to exist. Please go to feedthebadger.com/support. We do need your help, and we still have a ways to go on the fundraiser, although you have a lot closer. So thank you for that. And once again, that's feedthebadger.com/support. All right, let's continue.
Okay. Liberal feminists adopted the label pro-sex during this time, and Gail S. Rubin's 1984 essay, Thinking Sex, was highly influential, particularly its charmed circle model of sexual hierarchy. Rubin argued that society treats some sex as good, normal, natural, blessed, i.e., that which is heterosexual, married, monogamous, procreative, non-commercial, in pairs, in a monogamous relationship of the same generation, private, vanilla, etc., I guess. And sex in the outer limits as bad, abnormal, unnatural, damned, i.e., homosexual, unmarried, promiscuous, non-procreative, commercial, alone or in groups, casual, cross-generational, public, with pornography, with manufactured objects, or sadomasochistic. Oh.
Can we get to something that's interesting?
Throughout the 90s and naughties, I guess you could call them, the term sex positive came into widespread use. Activists like Carol Queen and Annie Sprinkle carried the torch of pro-sex feminism, and organizations like the Center for Sex Positive Culture and Sex Positive World emerged. It reached a wider audience through feminist and progressive blogging, popular advice columns like Dan Savage's Savage Love, and Tumblr, which became synonymous with a strong social justice sensibility and sexual freedom and exploration. Naturally, brands got in on the action.
It looks like I don't know if this, like, if you want to keep going, but like it looks like a lot of this is just a history lesson. I don't know if we need any of that, but like if there is a paragraph a little further down after the big quote that says, "I feel like we all just kind of got fucked over."
God, this is so boring.
I know, that's why I'm jumping ahead. And there's a paragraph that starts.
You know
with,
what?
Yeah.
In large part. Is that what it starts?
No.
The movement.
Yeah, I think you can just jump into the "and the movement" part.
Okay. And the movement is still focused on liberating the other kinds of sex that Rubin identified as being on the outer limits. We're making space for people who don't fit into the model of being cisgender, people who do not identify as straight, and people who seek a different relationship style from a monogamous marriage, said Jamie Kawelty, executive director of Sex Positive World. These days, though, most sex-positive advocates stop well short of one thing Rubin did, defending adults who want to have sex with minors. Oh, my God. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm finished. Okay, I have to go to the store. I have to feed this man. And I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Okay, can I just sum up all this crap? Like this article goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and it doesn't seem to once identify their actual problem, that the person that they're using to illustrate this entire, like they're using Katie to put a human face on this problem, on this issue. Not once do they seem to identify the problem. The problem is that Katie was subject to abusive bullying and peer pressure by her social group, which was a bunch of women.
Well,
right?
and it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. It was that she learned in her progressive education that sex positivity was positive.
Well,
right?
that actually
so she got an education. She got a formal education in how sex positivity was a positive force in the world, right? And that anything goes, right? And then she gets to college, and she's got these female peers going,
wait.
Well,
I
just
actually
do it,
read
dude.
into
Just
that.
do it. Just.
I think I might have read into that. She doesn't say that she
She doesn't say she. She said she felt insecure. She felt, kind of pressured. She kind of pressured, and
to be the cool girl. But who was pressuring her?
Well, somebody was pressuring her to be a cool girl, and it would be other girls, right?
Yeah, because I can't imagine like a guy was like, you should get a Tinder account and start hooking up with men.
Yeah, no.
No.
He'd be like, please date me. But no, it's these women who they've interviewed blame the progressive education that they received on sex positivity for their problems and their bad experiences, and then the rest of this article is just one giant apology for the fact that whoever educated you on sex positivity left out the context, and they didn't get into the nuance, and if it's like I told fucking that asshole Michael Kimmel at the screening of The Red Pill. If you have to take an entire women's studies program to understand the concept, you shouldn't be talking about it to a 9-year-old, right? So,
yeah, there's some I mean, they do end up just going after men. Essentially, there's one paragraph where they talk about apparently men who engage in BDSM have used the defense that she consented to it for situations where rough sex killed a woman or seriously.
Well, maybe she did. Maybe she did. I'm pretty sure David Carradine, was it David Carradine? Consented to his own autoerotic asphyxiation. he was found hanging from a freaking closet pole with his dick out. I'm sure he consented to that because he did it to himself. Like, oh, accidents happen when you're fucking with, like, people's airways.
Yeah, they do.
Especially if you've been drinking. Like, what the, like, that, like, doesn't mean it's okay. It just means, like, maybe that's not a good idea to do that stuff. Particularly in a situation where you don't know the person very well.
But also, like, okay, also,
or you don't have
if
a
you
spotter.
engage in BDSM, you are going to probably suffer injuries. And if you engage in autoerotic asphyxiation, there is a chance of death.
Yeah.
So if these men
supposedly makes it exciting.
Yeah, if these men can actually prove that there was consent.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, don't do this. Don't do this. Just don't do it.
Don't. Listen to Louis C.K. and Bill Burr.
Don't walk away. The instant she's like, could you walk away? Just like, you know what?
Choke me.
Just walk away. Because if these, and I presume that these cases where men were able to successfully argue that they didn't intend to kill the woman, that they probably had significant evidence that that was the case, which is why
there was consent.
The UK courts are verifiably prejudiced against men when it comes to sexual crimes. Like, they've had to be investigated because of that prejudice. It's the only time I've heard that they've had to be investigated for systemic prejudice. And the systemic prejudice that they had to be investigated for was they were actually removing evidence of innocence in rape cases. So no, this is like these men probably had significant evidence that it was consensual, either text or video evidence, or maybe the woman signed something. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't see this.
Or there were witnesses.
Getting away with it without that. But here, guys, if you're listening, don't engage in this.
Yeah, no.
It's not a good idea. I mean, like this guy that I was talking about, the one who wants to get a sex doll so he can be gentle. Why are you doing it if you don't like it?
Yeah.
Like, I know the answer. It's because like a lot of men are so desperate to actually have some kind of intimacy that they'll tolerate dehumanizing sex with women that dehumanizes them, that they don't even want.
Yeah.
But it's don't do it. Just don't. Just walk away. They're fantasies that women have. They should not be allowed to get fulfilled. Period. Anything rapey? No, don't. Anything forced? No. Stop the BDSM. No more female submissives. Period. Just walk away from that crap. It's not worth it.
They can read a dirty book and rub one out.
Yeah,
with a glass of wine in the bathtub.
Man.
Yeah,
have some self-respect. Don't do things that will get you in potential trouble. Don't do things that you aren't enjoying yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go.
Yeah. Good.
On this whole sex with minors thing, that was my.
Nobody wants to deal with that.
That was my cue to leave. So
I think that's my cue to be like, I'm done with this article.
I don't know if I'm done with the article, but I'm done for now.
Well, we could always pick it up tomorrow, maybe.
I gotta go brush my teeth, so.
I gotta go
taste out of my mouth.
I gotta go massage my doggo.
I just gotta get the puke taste out of my mouth, so.
Yeah.
I need some minty freshness now.
Oh, I was actually thinking of like a dog spa. I saw that today in like Staples.
A dog spa?
Yeah, it was a little tin, and you could get like a lint brush and like a little one. Those things that they put on people, you put on your head to do like a scalp massage. It was like it was a small version that you could give to your dog. You could massage your dog.
You're talking about like a hairnet? Or
not a hairnet.
Shower cap? Like a shower cap?
No, it's not a shower cap. It's like it's like a multiple little prongs, and you put it on your scalp, and it stimulates your scalp.
I think I know what you mean.
I would never do that for my dogs. They don't deserve it. All they do is bark at the window, so.
Yeah, but it's a much better thought to end.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
well,
true.
I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do my shopping. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna get dinner started. Then I'm gonna watch some cute dog videos on the Dodo channel, and then I'm gonna try and keep myself from focusing on that last sentence. So yeah.
Lindsay and I are gonna watch Ghostbusters 2 tonight.
Yeah, and Jonathan, my husband, is apparently going to be playing Five Nights at Freddy's with the patrons. So, VR Five Nights at Freddy's. So I'm going to be hearing a lot of screaming.
Oh God, VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't break anything.
He probably won't break anything, but he is actually pretty amusingly reactive to scary movies. So. There'll be a lot of screeching.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Signing off then.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So thank you for everybody who helped us out this fundraiser. It's still ongoing. We still have a ways to go. So I think that we'll take it offline on the main channel, but if you're on the secondary channel, the streaming channel, please consider putting a few shekels in the hat. Every bit helps to make sure that this particular, our viewpoint gets out there and continues to thrive, or not thrive, but at least exist. And it's difficult to take the hard line and with ourselves. And people don't like that because honesty is painful, but ultimately liberating. So once again, go help us with that. feedthebadger.com/support. feedthebadger.com/support. Okay, there we go. Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please smash the like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys thought about the article. And most importantly, please share this video because sharing is caring. And in this case, it is of particular significance because we might get donations from new people. So, try it. Let's see how it goes. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Fundzerker, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.